There we go. Apparently YouTube decided to go with the computer's camera instead of my actual high quality web camera. No idea why. I even selected it. Probably knew that I had those in the shot. Actually, right there. That's so. Hoping you can see what I'm about to show you. One of my favorite tricks with linen. This was something I did in the 18th century. If you notice, I ripped out some of the threads and it gives me a straight line that I can follow. So if you're ever sewing linen, you need to sew a straight line, and just the nature of linen, like you can see there, it's not entirely even. If you rip out a thread the whole way through, it gives you a straight line. And if you sew like in and out, it's pretty easy to get really tight stitches that are practically invisible, especially if you use white thread. But this is going to be the lining for what we're going to shape tonight. I did a little pre-shaping before the video started. I wanted to get the top flat because all the Buccaneer sketches show the hat as flat on the top. Rounder top hats did exist in this time period. You see flat topped hats. You also see some fairly tall hats, sometimes with a rounded top, sometimes with a flat top. But overall, the Buccaneer ones show a flat top. It's tough to judge the height because I think the artist had issue drawing people's heads. So the picture that I used as the cover for this, if you pull it up, if you go looking for it, you'll find the artist really was bad with drawing heads. But I did trace out some of the hats from the drawings just to get a general feel of measurements, things like that. If you got questions, go ahead, ask questions. As long as I don't have to pick up those things, we're good to go. Now, a person this hat was for was supposed to be visiting this year, but it got held up. And it's a person that I'm pretty sure most of you who are on this channel know. And I'm just going to leave it at that. If they at any point hop on and say that it's their hat, well, then you'll know whose hat it is. But it's somebody I really care about making sure I get this right for them. All right, where do I want to? So this is going to have a drawstring across the top. And I'm debating if I want to do the drawstring first or if I want to wait on it. I think I'm actually going to do it first. It's going to be the cord. It's made out of hemp. Hemp, of course, was extremely popular in the time period. Yeah, that's what we're going to go with. So decent hemp cordage you can pick up at most craft stores like Michael's, Joann's, places like that. They have it. If you take a bunch of these, put them together, you can actually make rope as opposed to just cordage. Should have the reason I wanted to do this right now and not just film it for later. I'm really not in the mood to break out my camera and go through all that. But a lot of you have been wondering about making hats, so figured if anything, if anybody hops on, you can all ask questions. If nobody hops on, at least we got it filmed. If anybody ever wonders why I'm thinking about doing my live streams at night, and also why anytime I have interviews with people, I usually schedule it at night, it's because I'm a dad. This is the only time of day where I don't have to worry about anything. I know where my immediate family's at, so I don't have to worry about phone calls. It's like the only time I can do anything uninterrupted. Well, somehow Golden Gunpowder and I did that live stream the other month. I mean, the kids showed up every now and then, but it wasn't that bad. Actually, let's move this so you can see what I'm actually doing. So I'm just whip stitching. It's all I'm doing to make the drawstring for the top of the hat. Now you could make the hat without a lining, but this keeps your hat clean, and depending on what you use to waterproof your hat, it keeps your head clean. So it's a win-win. I just got to remember, after I do what we're going to do tonight and the hat dries, when next to my next live stream I do, and I shellac it, if anybody's on here, please remind me to put something in the hat so that it so none of the shellac gets on the lining. Well, I mean, a little bit always will, but actually mine's not too bad. I thought mine was worse. Most of that there's sweat. Because this is the original lining that I put in this hat when this hat was the one with just the front curled up, kind of cavalier style. But I'm working on there's only one of you on right now. So I'm hoping next year by the March event, I will actually have what a pirate captain in the 1690s, actually into the actual golden age, if they were trying to be fancy, what they would actually look like. And that I will probably either do a video or probably a series of live streams. Actually, I figured out how to do screen sharing because there's a lot of little bits of, there's a lot of images I'd really like to have that I could show everybody that's watching, like what it would look like. This, I mean, I think there's 5 or 6 images of the Buccaneer hats. So a lot of it comes down to guesswork. Should add, this is probably going to be a 3-part series because I'm actually thinking about doing the probably going to make a mixture of wax and animal fat to make waterproofing for the hat. So it's going to be shellacked and it's going to have that on top of it. Also, any of you who are getting into making hats or even millinery with soft hat caps, your lining is one of your best ways to make sure that you're keeping the hat the correct size. So this guy, this guy's got a 57 centimeter head. So this is going to make sure that the hat is at least 57 centimeters. Because needless to say, my head's a lot bigger. In fact, Yeah. I should add, you don't necessarily have to do a drawstring in these, but I prefer doing them just because it's just how I've always done hat liners. I think some people actually shellac before they put the lining in. I'm going to show you why I don't. I'm not sure which is considered to be the proper way. Like on the surface, the shellac actually acts like it acts a bit like armor, and the idea of sewing through that just kind of worries me. You have enough thread. I actually pre-cut and pre-waxed thread just for this live stream, so I never do that. I usually end up running out of thread and having to start a new strand. There we go. There's actually, one of the best places to go to look is Benderson Little's blog. He's got all of them posted. They're not all in the same section, but once you find them on there, it's pretty easy. What I do is I usually end up, if I can't find them for whatever reason, I end up Googling Benderson Little Buccaneer engravings, and they pop up. And then you can just search them through Google. But they're originally, they're housed at the French National Library. They are from, I want to say, 1682. No problem. See, I'll tell you right now, a lot of us history YouTubers, we grew up with the old History Channel, like back when they had like Tales of the Gun, Modern Marvels. They did have some pseudo-archaeology, but it was Leonard Nimoy. And it was always like, we're just going to try to figure out what happened here. Like the original Spock. And it was a different, History Channel was completely different than what it is today. If you woke up early enough, there was like some good movies every now and then. And when I was in middle school, I'd wake up at, I think I'd wake up like 3 a.m. just to watch stuff on the History Channel because they always had some good movies on from. So there's couple like Korean War era, World War II. Like, it was awesome. And I think a lot of us who do these channels about history stuff, I think that's a lot of us are like, well, since History Channel ain't going to do it, somebody's got to do it. We got to make this stuff. We got to make this good quality stuff. I think what's dangerous for a lot of media is there's a lot of us with history degrees and humanities degrees that are like, there's very little work in our fields. And yet we have these degrees. We love the stuff. We're passionate about it. And we've got cameras now. They're very easy to get. And what gets real bad is if we manage to link up with videographers, special effects people. So then our production value goes up. I somehow messed that up. It's okay, though. Don't sew when you're half asleep, folks. It's tough. I mean, I'm not half asleep, but I've been sewing too much today. All right. Now I gotta figure out how I messed that up. I see what happened. Okay. No matter how experienced you are at sewing, you're always going to mess up a little bit somewhere. You're going to make a stupid mistake. Always. Oh, definitely. That was honestly, so initially when I started this channel, it was going to be like covering like some of the events, maybe doing a little historical fishing every now and then. I wasn't planning on this being like a resource. It was just going to be us every now and then messing around at events. And then, honestly, it was trying to think which video it was that I saw that I just was like, no, I gotta start doing videos about this stuff. This is just, it was what got me started doing like the shorts was both PBS and Max Miller's Tasting History. They did that collaboration about Henry Morgan's raid on Panama. They got it. I'm trying to think of how to phrase it. They got the idea right. They got the specifics kind of wrong. Not entirely wrong, just kind of wrong. And it just aggravated me. And then Max Miller was there eating, trying to eat leather. Actually trying to eat rawhide. And I'm like, no, do not eat modern rawhide. It contains formaldehyde. I don't care if it's veggie tanned. If you bought it in the store, it contains formaldehyde. Like when I have a whole roll of rawhide I bought from Tandy years ago to do a Viking shield with. which I still might. If you guys want me to do a Viking shield, I'll do a Viking shield. I'll actually teach you a little secret on, for those of you who live in areas where wood's expensive, I'll teach you a little trick on getting the wood for making a Viking shield. But anyway, I did that short video about don't eat the leather. And surprisingly enough, Max Miller responded. And I'm like, wait, what? He's like, okay, I guess might as well start doing these things and see what happens. And my wife and son get really annoyed at me sometimes because I am one of those people who just nonstop just wants to talk about history. My wife can't even watch 17th century shows with me. Like, she loves the era, but she does not like watching movies set in the era with me. Because it's the hat thing. The hat thing bugs me. Trying to think of how to phrase this that's okay on YouTube. They always want the chess puppies to be showing, even in eras when they were covered. And for some reason, they always put women in corsets and not stays. They are similar garments, yes, but they're not the same. I sometimes wonder, like, what all I can get away with on this channel, because, like, I mean, we're a Pennsylvania-based group. There's a lot of history in Pennsylvania that doesn't get covered enough, or we get access to different things like that on a monthly, if not bi-monthly basis. I'm in Gettysburg. I mean, my kids have practically grown up on the battlefield because we're always down there. One of my suppliers is down there. Sometimes we meet friends down there since we're reenactors. So a lot of our friends, they do Gettysburg, things like that. So I'm always like, can I do a video on this? Is it related to Pennsylvania? Yeah. But is it 17th century? No, but Viking totally would not be. It would just be us just messing around. Cracks me up as one of my friends who I've been trying to get into doing 17th century. Somehow I accidentally got him hooked on Viking. The other month, a few of us met up at Fort Loudon, which is where we do a lot of our events. And we did Viking stuff. And somehow he just was seeing all the pictures. He's like, I'm doing it. I'm doing Viking. It's like, wait, what? Now he's like forming a group where there wasn't a group before. It's so cool. But he messaged me the other night about it. I'm just like, wow, okay, this is cool. I wish you do 17th century though. All right. Oh, here's one of the worst and best things about linen. Just your body heat can iron it, which is great if you are trying to make you're trying to get seams to lay flat. Like, just doing that flattens them. It's bad whenever you're driving a car and get out of the car and your suit's all messed up. There we go. All right. So I realized I didn't have a straight edge that really worked with measuring, so I made my own today. So the hats from that spot's at 3.5. So this I'm going to probably do at 3.5. So I'm actually going to use pins for this part. I mean, nah, I don't want to weaken that structure. So in case some of you did not see the beginning of this, with linen, you can rip out a thread and you can actually make your own straight line. Let me think on this for a second. Okay, so this was before the Postal Service changed their. They recently changed what they classify as oversized shipping. So keep that in mind. But when I got paid, I want to say either 150 or 200 to do this. Which is why I'm trying to do everything completely by the book. And if I don't have the book on it, it's still going to be like as high end as I can get. I did that perfect. So the hats in the time period, they're blocked round. So you can't know if you can see it. I was messing with it to get some of the folds that you see in some of the why I say Viking, some of the Buccaneer hats. So I'm trying to find where I want the back of this to be. Oh, I feel like that's the better front. Oh, but yet that feels like a back. No, that's the front. That's got to be the front. There's a bit of a soft spot in this felt right here, which is great for this fold, but it's not good for the smaller brim. So that's why that's going to be the main brim. Yeah, right there. So This is the bad side of the liner, and that go in first. And this side, so let me double check that measurements are good. Yep. That's 52. Okay, so yeah, 28 and a half. There we go. I'll show you what I'm doing once I get it started, though. Because there's two ways to add a lining to a hat. One way is you're sewing direct, like completely through the hat. The other way is you're dealing with a knot randomly. There we go. The other way is you're sewing just into the felt. Like you're just barely sewing into it. Which is why I don't like doing this whenever it's already been shellacked. I see. Actually, you can't see. So right there is where I've started. And then, see, I've already started sewing it in. But what you're doing is you're bringing it just through the felt enough to hold it. Now, are the Buccaneers this precise with their sewing? Who knows? If I just have an artifact I wish we could find, it would be this hat. Now, depending on the thickness of the felt, if you do this, you still might get little bits coming through, but it's not like entire stitches. You don't necessarily even need a hat, you don't need a hat band for this. As far as I'm aware, they have not found one in archaeology. There was one a while ago. I think it was. Trying to remember which wreck it was that was similar, but it might have just been a damaged hat. It wouldn't surprise me if it actually did start out as a damaged hat. And then somebody was like, oh, that's cool, and then copied it. Okay. So in case anybody wonders what I'm trying to feel for, there's a slight spot where it gives away a little bit. That's from the original way this hat was blocked. And it makes a nice line to follow so that you get the lining in straight. Because at this moment, there's really not much structure with this hat. This lining is going to be the first bit of structure this hat has. And also, since I made it perfectly 3.5 inches the whole way around, that's also helping me, as I can just base it off the crown too. If I can't feel the spot, then at least it's right there. Our gunner's actually reblocking his later 18th century hat, and he made the remark about how it just seemed too small. Well, when we think about our head, like, it's this big mass right here. Of course. But then, like, people like me who wear, like, this style beanie, we actually don't really think about, like, what's the depth of our head. So, like, from, like, your ear, just above the top of your ear to the top of your head, that's only 3.5 inches. I mean, looking at it on a ruler in front of you, I mean, it doesn't seem that much. But then whenever you actually put the hat on, just that, like, here's 4, and it's like, wow, that would cover my ears. Which some styles, like a top hat, things like that, it works. And if you ever notice with top hats, some of them either go like a cone or they have like a hourglass shape. That is why. It's so your hat doesn't go all the way up. That would just be awkward. Now, in case anybody was wondering, Different colors of linen thread did exist in the time period. I'm only going with white because, well, it's almost natural. Because we're talking about Buccaneers on an island. We don't know if they would have even have had, well, they definitely would have had thread of some kind. Most likely would have been either linen or hemp. And the hemp thread I have is kind of thick, so I'm going with linen. Just as basic as can be. So those of you who are looking into making like your own hats, save up any cylindrical objects you have, because hat blocks are very expensive. A popular one, especially for 17th century style hats, are terracotta planters. Those work great for some of the shapes. There we go. That's where it's at. And if you don't have an iron, which I really recommend having an iron, get a pot of really hot boiling water, and you can use that instead. Some people use a teapot, which it directs the steam just like iron would. And that can help you shape your hats however you want them. But seriously, big coffee cans, terracotta planters, they are very useful. And when you finally see what some of these hats shapes really are, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, the hat block industry is a bit of a ripoff. Now, if you're talking about like some really specialized shapes, oh yeah, I understand why you're spending that much money. But for some of the 17th century hats, all it is a cylinder, nothing else. There is no reason why some of these hat blocks are like hundreds of dollars. Somebody who shops around at antique stores and flea markets, if you see hat blocks of any era, grab them. You can probably make some money off of them. And if you're somebody that does wood turning, seriously, hat blocks, we need them. Apart from doing a live stream, this isn't going to take all that long. Now, when I did this hat, this took much longer, largely because it's like trying to get all these curves just right. There we go. You also got to keep in mind, I've been doing this for I've been doing a lot of the sewing and stuff for a very long time. So even though this might take me like what 11:24 now, this is probably gonna be done. This step's gonna be done probably before midnight. It might take somebody else a lot longer. And if you're a perfectionist, which when you're doing a Buccaneer hat, don't be a perfectionist. Especially if you're doing it the way it would have been. Like, it would not have been a perfect hat. But you still want to be good. You still want to be reasonably good. If any of you follow Todd Cutler, he did a video, I forget how many months ago it was, when he was talking about how there was a lot of stuff that was low quality, and it was because you're trying to have like maximum volume. So, I mean, generally speaking, as far as reenacting vendors go, I'm one who undercharges a lot. And I want to get more people involved in the hobby. I want more people to actually come out, have a good time, take a break, study history, do all that lovely stuff. I don't like the idea of charging like thousands of dollars for something that, like, material cost wise, I mean, well, here, so those breeches right there, the cost that went into them material wise was probably about, well, I bought other fabric that day, so I actually got to think here for a moment. Maybe about $80 between the pair of them. And that's with other fabric, enough to make another pair of breeches plus some kid breeches. So I don't know how to do the math on that, but that's not that much. So, and then my time in those, I can usually get something like that done in maybe half a day if I have no distractions. Now, I should be charging more because that half a day, the reason I can do it that quickly and have very tight seams is because, like, it's my experience doing it. I should be charging extra because a lot of this stuff, I'm the one who researched it. Actually, it catches me off guard sometimes when I'll see somebody posting something in one of the history pages, and it's like, oh wow, that's a great thing that they posted there, and then they'll say something like, oh yeah, it was the Crew of the Fancy YouTube channel. I'm like, oh wow, cool, that they're talking about us. This is great. And I should clarify, there is more than just me in our group. Rich, who periodically hops on, he's our master gunner. the guy with the beard that shows up in some of our intro and stuff, that's our quartermaster Mark. We got his kids. I mean, they're not kids. They're grown-ups. But they're involved. My kid's involved. My buddy from Brooklyn who periodically pops in on here, honestly, I want him to take over some of the cooking because I sometimes get bored just sitting next to the fire all day. But then I miss it. So when I say us, I'm not actually like talking about the voices in my head. I am talking about other people. And my wife, who was just sneaking around here a little bit ago, sometimes she falls in with us. We're trying to get her to come out to more events. Sorry, I'm just complimenting my own work. I'm like, wow, that's excellent. And I'm doing this on video too. This is cool. We also have Austin. I forgot Austin. How did I forget Austin? He's who I do a lot of the fishing videos with. We're trying to get him to come out to more events. He hasn't done an event since, other than fishing, he hasn't done an event since 2 years ago. I know this year we're going to have a lot more people falling in with us, but there we go. That's going to be perfect. Now, if this was a hat that was my size at this point, I would actually try it on just to make sure it fit, but I can't do that. Oh, for those of you who, those of you who want to get into making hats and stuff, because apparently this is getting a lot of you. People have been watching a lot of my shorts on this, which is why we're doing a live stream. Metric is actually probably the best measuring system to use when it comes to hats. When it comes to everything else, I like using inches because it's what I grew up with. It makes most sense. But with hats, because you're dealing with this one area and it's the thing that people see, you want that preciseness. That centimeters are like the best way to do it. And the most annoying part with the American way to measure a hat, you're measuring across at the widest point. That doesn't really tell you much information. You actually have to do math then to figure out, like, okay, well, how big around's the person's head? So, for whatever reason, you're like, man, I want to go to the Crew of the Fancy, and how'd that make me a hat? Send me your metric measurement. Do not send me your like 7.5, that nonsense. No. I'm also going to point out a lot of sizes nowadays, and that includes hats, are vanity sizes. So you might think you're a 7.5, when in actuality you're would be about 7.75. Well, that's the thing right there. I was actually talking to, oh my God, I can't remember. I always muck up their pronunciation. They're the Dutch reenacting group who has some awesome videos here on YouTube. I'm friends with like two of their members. I don't want to say their names on here because it's YouTube, and I mean, I don't want you guys like, I don't want anybody stalking them, but they're the Dutch reenacting group, starts with an A. They were just commented the other day on my Christmas video, like, wow, you're using a Dutch painting. It's like, we don't really have that much on the English side. And I really want to start using more reenactment images, not because it's any better than it's reconstructed. It's not even real. It's just to get away from trying to make do with Dutch and German images when I'm trying to talk about something that's English. At some point, I want to do another Buccaneer jacket. I don't know if any of you have ever seen Shipwreck with Captain Morrow has one. My buddy Deke from Brooklyn, he's got the other one. He's actually got the first one I made. But one of the descriptions was it was called, how'd they describe? Was it sackcloth or sailcloth? I think I've seen both descriptions. But it would have been a rough canvas of some kind, most likely made from hemp or linen. Not linen, oh my gosh. And they could just let it be. I'm sorry. Terrible pun. But they ended up dyeing it with indigo, apparently. So it doesn't say, did they dye it well with indigo? Did they have somebody who actually knew how to dye properly in the group? There's nothing specific about that. So I went on the assumption that it was most likely a quick wash in indigo. Quite honestly, I mean, it turned out pretty good. There's I know Golden Gunpowder just used it the other day. No offense, Golden Gunpowder. There's this illustration that keeps popping up from one of the Buccaneer images, and it shows, for some reason, I always have it as this guy wearing a weird short jacket with that coat underneath. Those are actually backpack straps in the engraving. He's carrying probably a boar, but for some reason, whoever this illustrator was interpreted sleeves for some weird short jacket that didn't even exist in the time period. And every time people talk about the blue jackets the Buccaneers have, they cite that image, and it's like, that's not at all what it would look like. Like that, I can tell you. We do have several images of short jackets from the Dutch. We also know of several English possibilities of what they could have looked like. The French had a few. Like, there's a lot of options. None of them look like whatever that thing is that illustrator came up with. I don't think Golden Gunpowder has ever cited that. for that. That's why I like golden gunpowder. So that's, I mean, no shade. I just hate seeing that illustration. That illustration, I would rather do a video on Oliver Cromwell than ever look at that illustration again. I mean, I think I've made my views on Oliver Cromwell very clear in most of my videos. All right, where's the boom? Here we go. So, oh wow, the time to spare. There it is. Actually, here. There, let's get it. There we go. Now we have a better shot. Yep, there it is. So, this can be adjusted to like, just like that. When I end up doing the shellac, I'm probably going to take this and just tighten it with something inside. Good evening. When I start doing the pirate captain jacket, I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but when I start doing that I'm definitely going to, I really got to figure out screen sharing because I want to show like some examples before I start working on it. So a lot of people have been asking about patterning, all that. So there's my cheat sheet. I traced all the hats. So now those of you who work with pretty much any material of any kind, whether it be woodworking, metalworking, fabric working, you know the rule. Do not cut. You can always cut off more. You can't put it back. So to start out, I'm actually going to go with that look right there and see how it goes. So from my interpretation of this, you guys are actually seeing me try to figure this out live. Just FYI, I have not planned this out that much. This is just, we got my tailor's chalk. We got our straight edge. We're going to figure this out. So looking at, I have no way to really measure it, but so the main part of so that part needs to be as pretty much as long as I can get it, And then the sides, I want to say about half that size. I might give it about a half an inch just to have that leeway. So sometimes I like to have a desk that's closer than my desk, even though my desk is right here. So I have a random piece of wood that I like to use whenever I'm doing leather work, anything where I have to do precise measuring. It works just like that. So let me see. I gotta try to make sure I got the center. Well, you know, I got a straight edge right here. I could actually just do that. Follow that. Brings me to right about, yep, right about there. Okay. Still just doesn't. There it is. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going to measure out as far as I can get it. So now keep in mind, this is a fairly raw blank. So if you notice, the edge is not straight at all. All right, so what I'm doing is just making little marks around the edge. And then from there, I'm going to figure out roughly where I want to go back to the other size. Like right here is a great example. So that is 4.5 the whole way around. And then we come here, and this is right at 4.5. I didn't cut this. This was already cut when I bought it. So let me get the little mark right there. And that is there. Okay. All right, so there. That's our center, which now that I'm not going to mark, I'm just trying to make sure I got it right. How wide is this? This should be about. I don't know why you bother. It's supposed to be about 7.25. I got treated like 7.25. So if we're going 4.5, let's say 2.5. So 2.5 plus 2.5 equals 5, plus 7 equals 12. All right, there we go. See, kids, that's why the math that they teach you in school is sometimes important. I was terrible at math. So now I have to actually, so yeah. All right, so that is officially where that starts. So I marked these two dots out. So that gives me roughly where the hat should begin. Yep. Right there. Actually, could push it just a little bit further. So right there. And the great thing about Tailor chalk is it wipes off. It's water soluble. The only annoying part is if something's wet while I'm working with it, it will wipe off before I've gotten anything done that I want to get done with. Okay, there we go. Is that my final measurements? The more you measure, the less likely you're making mistakes. All right, so let's go 2.5 now. My temptation to go 3 is starting to bug me a little bit, but now we're going to go 2.5. I'm trusting that guesstimate. Try. There we go. There's an angle that y'all can see what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is finding where it's closest to that line and tracing, making a little mark from there to there. So there's our basic shape cut. Now, going back to look at that, if you notice that the edge of the brim has a nice curve, so when I cut that, I have to think about that. That is there. Okay. Aha, there we go. That. If that's good. And I need a little bit right there. Right there. Now, a few reenacting examples I've seen, they cut off all of this part and just leave that. I don't like that compared to most of these have more of an edge on them. This one does not, but I think it's because it's supposed to represent it being folded up. All right, this is it. There's no turning back now. Also, PSA this time of year, do not use somebody's sewing shears for wrapping paper. That's just mean. Sorry, this is my first time ever doing this, and it just makes me like, wow. I can't believe I'm doing this. Is it going to work? we go. And then well, there's the start of this. This part we know that this is what it's going to look like right there. It's the rest that we got to figure out. I'm also thinking about adding a little bit of a headband, a little hat band there. Now that I will probably sew a little bit into place after I shellac it. What time is it? You know, another half hour. I figure we can actually we'll do the ironing real quick. I'm going to take a quick hiatus, and when we get back, we're going to do the ironing. So stay tuned. In fact, I will put a little note here in the chat. Boom. Okay, one thing I do like about this computer, it has a little, like I can close off the camera. So you guys gotta remember, I'm an older millennial. So even though this is probably old technology, I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm really starting to think YouTube is out to get me. Now, here's why. When I took my little break, I checked my phone. I haven't checked my phone all night. And I had a warning against me because of the video I posted about what was going on in the Red Sea and how it related to, like, how the region's the same region where, I mean, this channel covers. For some reason, they thought it was somehow glorifying what was going on. I mean, I want you to look at what I'm wearing here. I was issued this. I wear this very proudly. I would not be glorifying people that are taking shots at my battle buddies. In that case, U.S. Navy, which I'll pick on the squids all the time, but I mean, this is also a naval history channel. I was Army. But yeah, if any of you know how to get in touch with YouTube directly, please let me know. I'm a little irritated with this because the first strike was whenever I was talking about those things, and now they're saying that I was somehow promoting an organization simply by talking about it in the context of history. Yeah. I didn't even think I was a controversial channel. Probably should add just a little bit more water to this. All right, here is the fun part. Trying to get the shape right. So I'm doing is slowly rolling the edges. All right. So this is the one I'm trying to copy because it's the clearest of all the drawing. So it shows the back having a slight curve to it. Trying to get these edges to be up a little more. Oh, and here's the kicker. YouTube had the nerve to ask me, like, how I felt about their decision. And I'm like, why are you targeting me? Do you have a problem with history? I really wish I knew what YouTube's whole thing was. Like, I know there's some history channels that are kind of a little, I don't know how to phrase it, out there. And you got mine, it's like, let's talk about pirates. I mean, come on. I thought I'd at least tick off Disney at least once. But no. And even the one museum I've gone after, which does actually have a decent legal team, they've actually responded nicely. They could have easily been like, come up with something, but no. All because I decided to talk about something that is relevant modern times and relevant in the 17th century. All right, that hat shape is very interesting. Okay, right about there. All right, so here's where I'm at. I'm looking at the shape I'm getting, and I'm looking at that. Let's see if I can get angle. So I measured the thinner parts too big. So now I get to go over it again. Actually, I'm going to unplug the iron. Safety first. And we're going to go over this again. So I did 2.5 last time. Let's go 2 inches. Start right there. Like at this rate, I'm thinking about making a backup crew of the fantasy just in case. Just in case I'm like under like a. So periodically, social media sites, they will get. You might do something or say something that just gets them fired up. Like it's bots, it's not actual people. And it will cause, I've called it a bot swarm. I'm not sure what the proper term is, but basically the algorithm just starts actually targeting you. Like it glitches out and anything you post, for some reason, it will misinterpret. Like it doesn't understand context to begin with, but some of the stuff like would have been 2020. I was working on a red frock coat and I made a historical joke. Like it's something like any school in the United States or Great Britain, you would have been fine making that joke. For some reason, Facebook's algorithm was like, wait a minute, what did you say? And it's like, what? And next thing you know, I'm getting like nonstop, like anything I'd post, it was just like, what did you say? It's like, okay, that was not even chess players on Facebook. They get hit with it a lot. So if you play chess, be careful like how you phrase some of the moves. And I really wish, like, I really wish what I was talking about was a conspiracy, but it's not. It's like, it's because these companies are using the algorithm. The algorithm isn't fully, it doesn't understand context yet. And oftentimes the second layer of, like, when you appeal it, it's another algorithm. It's not even a person. That's why when a lot of these YouTubers will get banned and stuff, they always go instantly to Twitter and are like, look, what's going on here? I didn't do anything. And that's like the only way you're getting in touch with some of these companies. Actually, what's interesting, in real life, or is it real life anymore? I don't know. The other part of my life, I'm a writer. I write science fiction, and I've recently been trying to get in touch with Amazon because I need to change some things on my account. For some reason now, you can't just call Kindle or KDP, even though like that's who you're supposed to call. And if you call the call center, the poor Indians at the call center, they're like, we can't get you in touch. There's nothing we can. I'm like, what do you mean there's nothing you can do? Well, you have to go to the help and then it'll send you. I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm calling you. I did it the one guy. I'm like, here, give me a second. I will ask for you whenever I get back. Oh, so that's what's happening. I'm like, yep, that's what happened. Oh, okay. I'm like, I felt so bad for them because I'm like, why are they sticking you with this? This is not okay. But it's because more than likely there's writers getting reported by Amazon's algorithm and they don't want to deal with it. Okay, so now so taking away that 1/2 inch brings us to 11 inches, which puts us at 5.5. Ooh, wait, that number does not make sense. Oh yeah, it does, right there. So that means that was actually, well, that explains that. Yeah, okay. Wait, where's that's right, I have to remeasure the center because I cut off that mark. Okay, treat this as a straight line. Right there. Boom, right there. I apologize to any of you who have. Oh, what'd you miss? I got a YouTube strike again for my video on my little short about like some of the stuff going on in the Red Sea right now, and like I mean, this is the same region that this happened before. Apparently, I was promoting a organization. It's always funny when I say stuff like that to a guy like this shirt right here, like while they're saying I'm doing this. The Army proud, man. Come on. Why would I support? People thought I was being funny when I was talking about spicy baseballs instead of actually saying the word. No, I was like, this is one of those things. I just had a feeling that algorithm was still lurking. You know, I think it is. I think it's because of golden gunpowder, and I keep picking on some of these really overhyped channels that do the that have like this amazing production value, but deliver absolutely nonsense history. Okay. Just looking at this, making sure that this, I feel like this is, what angle could, let's go right there. Can I do it from right there? Ugh, that's just taking too much of a risk. Okay, where is it? There's scissors. So what do you do if you aren't in the mood to actually pull out your compass and actually make a proper angle? If you have enough confidence in the shape you're doing, you do this. There we go. Oh, yeah, put that right there. Trim up that edge a little bit. And you missed the, other than the whole YouTube algorithm going after me randomly, you missed the sewing in the liner, teaching people all these random little things that you can do with linen. My wife periodically talking in the background. I think I know what it is. I implied in my Christmas video that British pudding was superior to American pudding. So they now think I'm, like, somehow against my own country. All because of pudding. Actually, the one American pudding I will fight people on is the, I shouldn't say that because they might take that. See, I have to watch what I say. Have a very proper debate over is tapioca. Like, I don't know if any of you have ever had tapioca before. I like it. And really all it is just regular vanilla pudding with tapioca beans in it. Look like frog eggs. Oh, I just don't like that angle. There's something wrong with that angle. Actually, wait. You know what? I have measuring implements. I could see. So I have it there for it. I have it there, right there. And I have it there. Ooh, yep, right there. That, I think, might actually be part of the problem. Okay, wait. So this is just, okay, 4.5. Ooh. Ooh. No, that's right. And then, yep, it goes down, 2. Ooh, isn't that? Ooh, right there. That was the problem. It didn't go down to 2. Well, fast enough. All right. Well, I mean, as long as I don't hit the crown, I can do it this way too. Sometimes if you are really getting annoyed and you want to make sure something's even, just fold it in half. Especially if you haven't actually finished it yet. Okay. What, is that a problem? Nope. Nope. Ooh, wait, is this side that's thick? Oh, wow. Okay, so right there's that's the problem. Okay, that's interesting. I sworn it was the other side that was the problem. Oh, no, that was that side. Okay, cool. All right. I think that might be the right size. So, I'm going to iron that. And if it works, then I'll have to let it dry and just call it quits for the night unless people got more questions. I know I've got more questions. YouTube, why are you bothering me? Now, I'm not monetized yet, but the way things are going, I probably will be soon. So I took the test that in 90 days, unless I do something else wrong, the suspension will be lifted. But I'm kind of in the zone of, how do I know if I've done anything wrong? Like, as arbitrary as some of these things are, like, how do I know? I'm like all paranoid. I'm like going to go through and like, I deleted the first video in that little brief series because I'm like, nope, I'm not going to have that algorithm sneak up on me. Like, I posted that months ago. So now it's actually making me wonder if somebody actually, oh, hello. So here's the thing. My wife can speak fluent French. And when I try to speak French, I sound like Brad Pitt trying to speak Italian in Inglorious. Well, it's been over 30 minutes. So wait, can I swear on a live stream? I'm not taking the chance right now. Inglorious Bees with Brad Pitt. So whenever I try to speak French, I mean like bonjour. I mean, okay, it's not that bad, but salut un autre. Yeah, see, now look, I can't pronounce that. Esto, yeah. I don't understand. Like, how can I see? Like, I research so much stuff in French. Like, there's a lot of words in French that I can read, but I can't speak them. Like, nope, I can't touch my fusee, even if it's to talk about language. I'm almost tempted to grab my spear, but I have a feeling the algorithm's just watching me, waiting. Like if I make like if I do something like this, be like, ee, people are gonna like the algorithm's gonna be like, oh, I see what you're doing. That is I don't even want to say the words. Hi. I mean, how many videos have Golden Gunpowder and I like live streams? Like we've done some together. I mean, we've done that one together where we were both showing off those things. And then he did one the other week where he was showing off one of those things. And the algorithm was like, oh, everything's fine. And then I did that one the other week and it was like, you monster. It's like, what the? Sorry, guys. I'm still that YouTube strike thing just really just. I am pretty good on YouTube. There are many times where I'll get a comment from somebody who's just flat out a racist and I want to say something. And I'm like, no, I'm going to behave myself. I want to say all these awful things, but I can't because I will be the bad person. This rate, I'm starting to think maybe I should, because then the YouTube will be like, oh, you're one of the good guys. Okay. We'll leave you alone. There are a couple history channels on YouTube. I think many of you will know the ones I'm talking about, that for some reason insist on talking about modern things, or they'll create a controversy where there really wasn't one, or they're preaching to the choir in most cases. And I'm starting to think maybe that might be why the algorithm goes after some of our channels, because it's not, many of us aren't involved in any of that sort of discussion, but yet it's like the algorithm is now just trained, like, gotta watch those history people. They're extremists, I tell you. See, I said that word. Now that's probably going to cause a problem. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah, I should note, any of you trying to do this at home, the iron gets really hot. I mean, obviously, but the steam gets really hot. I've worked in the food industry long enough that I don't really feel the heat on my hands. So I can get away with doing this. Oh, I think this is it. I think this is it. think I got it. Oh, yep. Okay, wait. Is that going to hold that up? I'll undo this a second. Oh, they are French words. Buccaneer, filibuster, would you pronounce it? Ironing. They had irons at the time. Give me one moment. Do not turn your back on an iron. Just FYI, don't do what I'm about to do. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Oh, there it is. So when working with canvas, this is actually a great tool. This is a smaller one. Some of them were a lot larger. This is a seam rubber. So I'll just take a piece of scrap linen here. So I'm going to fold it. So here it is now. I haven't folded it yet. There's a slight fold for me, partially folding it, but all right. So take that. Actually, can I turn this anymore? No. Okay. So let me see if I can get, there we go. So like, let's say you're making a sail. You need to get a seam pressed down. You could be up in the rigging doing this. You could be on the deck doing it. You don't really want random little things of fire on the deck. Flee. Now, is that you and because in English, what you wrote was bust. So it would be flee bustier, or would it be flee bustier? You are gonna get me to speak French properly, aren't you? By the end of this. Okay, so flee bustier. Wow. All right, so I did that. Now look, there was no heat applied. All that was just with the seam rubber. You could use that to, when you're, see, now that's why I wish I could use the other camera right now and show you, but I'm not pulling that down. But when you do sails, that's like an easy way to get the seams right on the sails. So there you go. Yay! All right. That needs to be up just a little bit more, right? Yeah. There. Oh. Okay. So what I'm doing right now is looking around my office to see if I can find, I need something cylindric. And just the right, nope. Knitting needle, that might work. Is it? If you notice, it's not a like immediate line. There's a slight. Yeah, right there. So it's even. Yes. There we go. See, I actually appreciate you guys trying to teach me French, because I really want to learn. I know a little bit of Spanish, which I mean, I'm so out of practice with it, though. It's awful. I know a little Italian, but I really like for what I do a lot of the time, I really want to learn some French. So, and Dutch. And more Spanish. So, I have no issue with, like, if I say something wrong in a video, tell me. Tell me. Okay, there we go. So that should actually be right there. Oh, when doing a Buccaneer hat, don't be afraid to eyeball it a little bit. So, like I saw some things that were just, I could tell just that little bit that was wrong. All right, let's see here. Now, I feel like I brought that up too much. Let's change the angle just a little bit. So it's that right there. I should have. Okay, right there, I think. Now, this is the one from the guy actually in the cover photo for this video. That one is, I like the curve on that one. Let me guess, the way we pronounce Corsair is wrong. I know my accent on it's wrong, but let me guess, the way we pronounce it in English is completely wrong. So is it Corsair, or is there some other way that I'm missing? Actually, I have one that I need help pronouncing, and it's one that I have had to use so many times, even doing 19th century stuff. And yay! Okay. I'm going to type it into the chat. how do you pronounce that? Like, what's the breakdown? Because every time I say it, again, it's one of those moments. I just sound like a stereotype American, and it really upsets me. Wife's gonna be like, "What time did you get to bed?" "Oh man, it was so late." "Well, did you finish the hat?" "Yeah." "Well, then why'd you stay up late?" "I was learning French." She probably actually wouldn't believe me. Oh, I wish this hit me because I totally put this on. I have a feeling I got it. Oh, I have a feeling I got it. Okay. I need a... The only mannequin head I have is my weird vampire mannequin head. Don't ask. Okay, I was pranking my son the one day. Cha. Oh, so more like a sha. And how's the last part pronounced? I think I got it. So most of the pictures are at, say, right about that angle. So see if I can get, or wait, let's go. That one's the, okay, hang on. I'm not used, there we go. There we go. I think I did it. Yeah, and you got to see me do it from pretty much. I mean, I did flatten that part off screen, but yeah, dang. And then next video is actually going to be lacquering it and everything like that. So right there, I think I nailed that. Well, okay, the thing that really annoys me with the way these hats look, all right, let me, okay, that angle, which is the angle that they're pretty much all at in the drawings, I'm like that, oh. Okay, so flattening the top. Now, I mentioned this way earlier. God, oh my gosh, we've been here for a while now. So if you cannot afford a hat block, you don't have a hat block, get anything that you can find that's cylindric and is about the size of your head. So actually, some of your terracotta pots, trying to think of things that are like available internationally, like terracotta pots, like stuff you stick out in your porch. Get one of those. Those have a lot of them actually have a great shape if you want to do some of the early 17th century hats. Europe still has like old school cheese boxes, the ones made out of wood, right? Because those would actually be perfect, especially if you found one that was the same size as your head. Because that, like if I had a cheese box, that would have been easy. Coffee cans. So like if you can get some of the larger ones, perfect. I actually, like I was stacking random objects trying to get the size right. It worked. It was not the easiest way, but it worked. Here. I'm trying to think. But I mean, the thing is with 17th century hat blocks, most of your hats are round formed. So they're not, you don't need a head shape. You need just a cylinder. So if you got anybody that can wood turn, you can get a proper hat block. The problem is a lot of the hat block suppliers tend to overcharge. Yeah. So, chausser. I rolled my R too much, I think. Chausser. Wow. Now I feel good. I think it was actually the most French I've actually been able to work on pronouncing pretty much my entire life. I mean, I did take a little bit in middle school, which was, my gosh, 20 some years ago. Ordinateur. Ordinateur? All right. Here's a little side story with me. Back when I was in college, like my senior year, one of my big papers I wrote was on, of all things, absinthe. And then that summer, after I graduated, I went on this trip down to New Orleans, and would be Nouveau Orleans, and I ended up meeting the co-founder of the Absinthe Museum down there at his favorite bar. So we're just hanging out at this guy's favorite bar. We got absinthe fountains everywhere. Well, the worst part of it is, well, right here's an example. The only times I ever actually had to speak any kind of French in person to people that also spoke French, they weren't speaking French, it was Creole. And depending on which Creole you're talking about, the accents get all over the place. So like New Orleans there, it's like you've got so many different twangs going on. So my Appalachian talking to somebody from Louisiana, especially somebody from the Bayou, like we can understand each other to a certain degree. I mean, especially at that point in time, I don't know how much absinthe I drank. So my twang was just completely out. There are times that I'll say words on here and it's like, I mean, here I am talking about this high subject and it's like, I'll might talk about art history and I'll be like, Caravaggio. So anyway, he went down the street a little ways and he got into a fight at a tennis match. Actually, my accent doesn't get that bad, but yeah, I grew up in the mountains. Actually, ironically, I don't know if the guy actually watches this channel. You know what? I'll do it anyway. So a friend of the family lives in Europe and is coming over to the United States to visit. And he loves absinthe. He lives in Europe and he doesn't have one of these. So I'm either giving him this one. Actually, I'll let all my French here vote on this one. You got a guy who loves France. He's American. He loves France. He lives, I can't say the country because it might give it away. I probably already gave it away, but I still can't do that. But he's never had an absinthe spoon before. Which would you give him? The basic absinthe spoon or the Eiffel Tower absinthe spoon? Because that, to people are trying to hear like, wait, do we talk about, wait, I thought this was a pirate page. Why are they talking about absinthe? What is absinthe? And then somebody's going to chime in, absinthe's illegal in the United States. And it's like, no, it's not. No, the stuff that they have is fake. The basic one, all right. But then that breaks up my set. Now, I'm okay with that. Oh, so for anybody who tunes in here and is curious about absinthe in the United States, we have very similar rules to the EU. Furthermore, historical absinthes, especially the really good ones, like we're not talking the stuff that they were putting copper sulfate in. We're talking the good ones. They had a very similar parts per million of wormwood that the United States has. So whoever, like, I think the only people who think that there's something special and weird are the same people who buy those, who go over to London and order the lit shots of absinthe. Look at this, guys. This is absinthe. I actually have a glass absinthe fountain sitting out there in my kitchen. It's like I'm not going to get it right now. And plus, it's completely irrelevant. If I manage to get a hold of Pennsylvania absinthe, I could do an absinthe video because we do have our own brand of absinthe, which is really good. So. All right. So I need to let this completely dry, and then probably tomorrow night, probably be late tomorrow night like this, I'll do the shellac. And then once the shellac dries, then I will start doing the, I actually might go over this one with a mixture of animal fat and wax, beeswax, which will help waterproof it completely. But, yep, I think that's all for tonight. How do you say thank you in French? I can say in Italian, grazie, Spanish, gracias. How do you say it in French? Merci. Yes. Oh my God. Well, and you gotta remember though, we also Europe also got hit with that that wine. Oh, what was it called? It was that one disease that was affecting the grapes, and it knocked out the wine industry for a couple years, and then the wine industry is trying to recover. But by that point, everybody was already hooked on absinthe, and it was getting so bad that these suppliers were putting like copper sulfate and all this nasty stuff in it, which was making it even worse. I mean, it's kind of like, well, here we go. Our segue to tie it back to the 17th and 18th century. It's kind of like the problem Britain was starting to have with gin. Gin got really cheap and everybody got hooked on it. So, all right. Merci. How do I turn this off? Take care.